right. Good morning, UTC family. Welcome to another Soul Talk. Today is Relational Unfoldment, and we are so honored to have with us two individuals who will share with us their journey. And I know you may be a little surprised that on Relational Unfoldment Sunday, we have Shakira Taylor and Mitch Walthour with us, but you're going to see why in a minute. So I want to welcome you, Shakira and Mitch. Thank you for saying yes to being part of our Soul Talk this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, to get started, share with us, tell us a little bit about your journey to UTC and why you chose to make UTC, the Universal Truth Center, your spiritual home. Who wants to go first?
Who wants to go first? All right, I'll just jump right in and give like a short abbreviated journey, I guess, to UTC. So my friend Richard, who actually surprised me the last time I preached at UTC and has not been to UTC in many years, he actually got invited to UTC, heard Reverend Mary, did a lesson, and he brought the CD, pushed it in my door, called me and said, Shakira, you have to hear this message. There is a place that I think you should check out. So I went with my Aunt Laverne the following Sunday, and the next semester we were in class. I can think straight through from the next semester, maybe about 3-4 nights per week we were in class. 2 years straight we had our masters, and we were just loving it, soaking it up, getting all that we could, because we found a place that was actually sharing some, what we thought at the time was some radical ideas that we only shared in our house. But there was a place outside of our house that we could actually share. So that's my journey, and I've been there since, and that was back in 07.
2007.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you what year that was. Okay, great. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Shakira. Mitch, what about you? What's your journey like?
So I joined UTC in August of 2010. I was 21 at the time. I was invited by my late cousin, Charles Young, who was a member at the time. And I made UTC my spiritual home because there was no place like it. You know, like Shakira said, the vibe was different. The message, it resonated. It was what I needed, even when I didn't know I needed it, because I never knew it existed, you know? So because I grew up Pentecostal, you know, Church of God in Christ, Kojic, very strict. You know, my dad was a deacon, my mom was a missionary, and I had a family full of pastors and first ladies and evangelists and musicians and everyone. So growing up, church was my life, and that's not hyperbole. I mean, it really was, you know, my life. But at age 12, I'll just say that private details surrounding my parents' divorce, it got around the church. And for me, that was the last straw, because there was a lot of snake stuff going on even before then. But needless to say, you know, I left and I stayed out of the church since. And that was maybe around 1990, 2000. So, you know, fast forwarding to 2009, I reconnect with my older cousin, Charles. We get caught up and he sees that I'm not doing well, you know, at all. And so he tells me about this church in Miami Gardens. You know, he said the church is different. You know, the minister is cool. The people are cool, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, all right, you know, and he invites me to Burning Bowl. And so I reluctantly went. I actually enjoyed myself. Like I really did. And even though I was invited back, I was a bit hesitant because I didn't want to do the church thing again. You know, that's months to wrestle with. But around that summer, something told me, you know what, go back. And July of 2010, I started going back. And luckily, that's when you all started the Prosperity Secrets of the Ages book with Catherine Ponder. And, you know, I started going then, and I joined the following month, and the rest is history. So,
okay. So Pentecostal, huh, Mitch?
Yeah.
you seem so quiet to have come out of that background. Okay.
Right.
But anyway, that's another story. We talk about that later. Okay. Okay. So we're going to begin to get into the meat as to why you all are here on Relational Unfoldment. Before I get to that, though, you are both in the ministerial program. Um, how's it going, and why did you choose to enter into the ministerial program to become ministers? Wow, that's a big step for both of y'all.
Yeah.
First Lady Shakira, you want to go first?
I want to put it over to Mitch first, this one. he can step out first.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I can do first. I can go first.
Okay.
So it's going pretty good. So we just wrapped up our coursework phase of the training. Right now, we're getting ready for the LNO, which is the licensing and ordination interviews for a ministerial license, which takes place the week of October 23rd. And so that's where we are on the journey. But as I shared, during my Father's Day sermon, I really wasn't trying to be a minister because, to your point, Reverend Charles, I'm laid back, I'm quiet, I'm a background dude. The attention that kind of gives me the jitters a little bit.
Right.
And I was apprehensive because, and I have to be honest, because I saw way too many ministers who have either gotten physically ill from doing this or they became mentally ill, literally lost their minds. Their relationships suffered, or their families resented them because they spent more time at the church than with them. And so becoming a minister to me was almost like, and I don't mean to be over the top, but it almost seemed like a death wish. Like, why on earth am I going to walk into a lion's den? So that's so that's kind of what I had to wrestle with. There were genuine concerns, but a seasoned minister told me, Mitch, you define how you serve. You define it. And as a minister, you're here to serve God. Serving people will be a natural outcome when you serve God first. And she kept reminding me of that order. And she told me, God will never make you sick. And I'm like, okay, now those are bars. And after that, and after she told me, I'm like, okay, I could breathe a little bit easier now.
Right.
Do I still get anxious about this from time to time? Yes, but I think it's natural because I just want to do a good job. I want to serve to the best of my ability. But despite the anxiety, I wake up every day realizing that I'm in my rightful place. And so that's why I said yes.
Okay, thank you. And I want to say thank you for saying yes, Mitch. And I'm glad you mentioned about taking care of yourself. That seemed to be a theme lately circulating around in the world of ministers. I mean, just yesterday or last night, I just came back from a retreat in Jamaica where our president, Reverend Sheila, has mandated almost that the ministers in your field and, in other movements too, take time to take care of themselves. So I'm glad you mentioned that to reinforce that we need to take care of ourselves if we're going to be open and clear channels for spirit to use. So yes, and I hope to be a good example of that for you and other ministers, of somebody who take care of themselves as a minister. So thank you.
Oh yeah, you are. So thank you.
Okay, all right, First Lady Shakira, my beautiful wife.
Thank
you.
You
did you enter into the ministerial program when there's already a minister in the household?
I know, and I struggle to somewhat find a nice way of answering that question. And Mitch mentioned something that I didn't really struggle with, and that's because it's my personality in terms of just really radical, right? I just do my thing. So having a minister in the house, when I'm talking to him, it's like, you need to do this, boom, 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 don't care, this. And that has always been my personality, like not caring, right, about what folks da-da-da-da. So I don't have that background or that fear around the whole ministry thing. The program has been going well. I did go into the program very incognito, and that was simply because, yes, I have a minister in the house. Yes, I did not want to have a lot of conversation around my decision to go into the ministry. I didn't want to deal with opinions. I didn't want to deal with what anyone wanted to say. So my mom knew, one friend within UTC knew, and my husband knew that I was in the ministry. And then they started using this term, ministers in training. And I don't know who came up with that, but I had a very hard time. I hated that. I hated the flyers with it because it kind of forced me to come out and to start talking about it. But I'll share. So as I was going through the whole journey of becoming a minister, walking into that step and accepting it for myself, I had this revelation, I guess, once. And the revelation was simply that I call you to be a minister. I am the only person that can ordain you. And that was the conversation that I was having with God, right? With my higher self. And so I was having a conversation with my husband and Rev Kev. One night we were having dinner down in Miami, and, Rev said, oh, I was listening. Rev Kev said, oh, I listened to your lesson, and, I'm hearing some things, and, I'm excited to see what's going to unfold. And I just remember saying, nobody can ordain me. God ordains me. This is what happens. And I had a really, the Shakira personality came out, and I had to step back and reflect on that. And it must have been maybe like a couple weeks later when the program opened up, and I was like, oh God, you are funny that this is happening. You are hilarious. And so I did the application, and then I went to my senior minister and asked him to do me a letter of recommendation. And he looks at me like, wait, you're going into the program? And I go, yes, and you're mandated not to speak about it. And so that has been the journey. And it's been a stretch. It really has. The classes, the teachers, the requirement, the study. It has been a stretch working and doing all the things in my life, but it's been a good one. It has really been a good one. And I feel really grounded in the process. And I have no idea what it looks like after licensing. I'm staying open to what Spirit will reveal. And I'm just growing through it.
Great. Well, and thank you for saying yes to serving in this capacity in our community. Thank you very much. So today is Relational Unfoldment Sunday. And I know people are wondering, why would I have Shakira and Mitch as part of the Soul Talk for today? Because they're not a couple or anything, but they do have something to share as it comes to relationships. And this is that. And this is what they have to share. They both have to do a ministerial project after they get licensed, to become ordained. And after reading their projects and talking to them about their projects, it dawned on me that both of their projects, in a different way, have to do with relationships. So Shakira and Mitch, please share with us what your projects entails and how you hope it will bless and benefit our community.
Sure. You want me to go first, or?
Go ahead. All right. Yes.
All right. So my project is entitled The Good Vibes Lounge. It's a hybrid community where seekers will be empowered to grow spiritually while also being encouraged to enjoy life in the process, because I think sometimes we forget that as we do this spiritual work. The lounge will consist of online discussions and local meetups. The discussions will be therapeutic and thought-provoking talks on current events and other relevant topics. And of course, I'll be joined by special guests. Now, the meetups, on the other hand, which will come later, will be for on-site, in-person interactions. And the meetups will be like, a barbecue at the beach, an art showcase, a poetry slam, and other, cool events that are not necessarily religious in nature, but still appropriate and, non-ratchet. And even though all ages, my target audience are millennials and Gen Z, I think there needs to be something that meets them where they are so that we can bring them in somehow. Because unfortunately, my generation still don't quite like the church. But this doesn't mean that they won't like the message. And so this is why I'm trying to meet them online where they are and where they're comfortable. And another purpose for the discussions is to help people understand and apply new thought principles in light of a particular topic. For example, some of the topics that I want to cover is healthy detachment, because we always talk about healthy attachment, but how do we in a healthy let folks go or draw boundaries after the fact, And so I
Okay.
want to discuss that. I want to know who do you really have in your circle, because unfortunately, many of us learned the hard way that people who are doing this in front of you, they're not necessarily doing that behind you. And so,
Amen.
yeah, and so that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to also discuss the right way to make amends, because it's very interesting these days what people do. And also, like, why does this spiritual walk seem so lonely? Because it feels like you're not understood. Nobody gets you, you don't fit in. And so I just wanted to navigate that, to see how we can improve in those areas. And I'm doing this because I need people to know who they are. I need people to love themselves, to love life, and to manifest the best connections and outcomes. We need to, at least for me, we need to quit being okay with playing small and with being miserable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over that. And I'm over the culture trying to convince us otherwise too. And now, how this ties to AIF theme. So while relationships may not be like the primary main focus for the lounge, healthier relationships will be a byproduct if you do the work. And this applies to friendships, romantic relationships, work relationships, and any connection. Because I strongly believe that in order to have a healthy relationship with anyone, you need to first have it with yourself. You need to honor and love who you are first. But a lot of us don't. And I say that because I spent almost 2 decades hating myself. So I know what not loving yourself looks like. I know what it is, and I paid major prices for it. So that's why I believe conversations that allow for self-reflection and self-evaluation and healing are vital. And that's also why fun is necessary to have when you do this work, because it can get real heavy. And so, we need that work-play balance, as you preached once. And I think that this will help UTC specifically because I think it'll expand our reach. It's new energy, new perspectives, but the same principles though. And our target are millennials and younger, though everyone is welcome. And if this works, then I think this will provide us and the UFBL and even other denominations with the model of how we can do ministry in the 21st century. And so that's my project in a nutshell. I hope to have the first discussion on January 25th. It'll most likely be on YouTube, but just stay tuned for more information.
All right. Thank you, Mitch. I'm really looking forward to being a part of your project. I really am. And I'm glad you mentioned this because I've learned over the years that everyone who is with you is not necessarily for you. And you have to learn the distinction between the two. And I'm going to say it again. Everyone who is with you is not always for you. Yeah. So I look forward to being a part of your project. Thank you. All right, First Lady Shakira.
All right, that's so exciting. I can't wait to hear more and be involved in Mitch's project. That's super exciting. So for me, I prayed a lot about my project. And I looked at UTC and I looked at the different areas in which I serve, as a teacher, spiritual education and the prayer ministry. And then I had to step back and also look on myself and what it is that I want to be inspired to foster and to build up, right? And so a lot of prayer went into stepping into that space. And I am a big proponent of relationships, right? Period. All kinds of relationship. And I do believe that it is through relationships that we actually work out the things that we're supposed to work out as humans. So there's no getting away from relationships, whether it's your love relationship, family relationship, etc. So my project is going to be on relationships. And certainly it's going to be for couples because that's the season that I am in and I intend to be in for this incarnation. And so what better way to bring couples together to create a sacred space, and most important, to have fun, right? And for me, I think we get into relationships and our love relationships with certain unrealistic expectation. We are not able to navigate the changes that individuals might be going through in their relationships, in their marriages.
Mm-hmm.
And the context and the concept for me is the person really changing, or is the person really waking up to understanding who they are? Because they truly was always
Mm-hmm.
that from the get-go. So how do you navigate that together if that is something that you so desire to do?
Mm-hmm.
What I have found even when I was getting married and I was looking within the UFBL and I was looking for model relationships or for couples that I could maybe even have a conversation with, I really wasn't finding that. And I really wasn't seeing that. Yes, they existed, but maybe they weren't visible, right? So how can we have such a rich, dynamic message of empowerment and not quote unquote have the support of how to navigate that as a couple, as a family, as a unit, and certainly doing it in a fun way. So for me, it's going to be about having fun. And I want to do that physically, locally in Miami, just a lot of fun. I want to go out, spend time with people who are in relationship. I want to learn the secrets of how to deal with my thermostat issue at home and how to get me and my husband on the same temperature in the house. You know, I want to learn these things. And I can't learn it from my single friends. I have to learn it from people who are in healthy relationships and they want to continue their relationships and they've been doing it. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be going out. I don't know where we're going, but we're going to be going out. We're going to be having fun. The men are going to have, the ability to be with the men, the woman with the woman, all together. We're going to have that. Then I also want to have online events because I wanted to open up to not just UTC, but to UFBL and the entire New Thought movement, and really people all over the world who are in relationships and they're just looking for that safe space where they can come and be their authentic self. So it's going to be soulful fellowship, navigating relationships together. And, yes, you can be non-married, but you have to be in a relationship. And you were working to navigate that and to navigate just your growth individually. And Mitch touched on it. If you can't, you have to love yourself. You have to deal with the individual stuff that's coming up, and then marrying that collectively. And I want to create that safe space so that we can all do it and have fun.
Okay.
So retreats, party, fun, and learn. And that's me.
and learning. You just said learning too, right?
Yeah, learning. Under the fun.
All right, cool. All right, great. I look forward to being a part of that too, First Lady Shakira.
Certainly.
It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Both of y'all's projects sounds like a lot of fun. I look forward to being involved with both of your projects, and I want to invite everybody when they get started to jump on board to support them. So as we get ready to wrap this up, you both give of your time, your talents, and your treasures to UTC, to UFBL at large, and so forth. Can you share with us any parting words of wisdom you want to just share with the community as to why it is important for you to give to the community the way you do, and why it's important for all of us to give to the community in which we are involved with? How has it benefited you to give?
So within a year or two of me joining UTC, I remember I was maybe part of like 6 different ministries. And I think I may have gone up to 8 total, and that doesn't even include the committees that I was part of. So I hopped right in, but I gave back to UTC because UTC just gave so much to me. And I know that that's something that everyone says, but it's true. Like UTC helped me understand that crazy decade before I got there. It helped me heal from it. And it's actively helping me to get over my frustration with public speaking. Like I still believe I gave a sermon. Like, what? Like I did that? But But
Yes.
the more I give, the more I receive, and the more I continue to unfold and to expand. And that's the God honest truth. That's the law. And so I would say that if you love UTC, if you love this teaching, then give. Don't just send us love and light. No, just show up and express that love through action. Do something, but also do what you love as well. But on the flip side, though, I do have to say this to those who work with the time tithers. Allow people the freedom to give in their own way. Don't try to lock
There
folks
you
into
go.
it
Yes.
to a 10-year commitment. Don't try to spread folks across 5 different ministries when they can only do one. Don't don't be too forceful or clingy. Let people kind of express and give in their own way. And of course, say thank you when they do, because the reality is that people don't have to give us anything, but we're still here because people have. And so I guess I would just say, let's be mindful of that. And that's the advice I would give.
Amen. I'm glad you mentioned that, Mitch, because when you mentioned that when you first joined, you was a part of 8 committees and
Yes.
projects that, you scared me. But anyway, yeah, I highly recommend that, that you don't do what Mitch did when he first joined UTC. Find your niche,
Right.
join 1 or 2 events or activities or committees. And I mentioned this a couple of years ago. I don't want to lock anyone into a life sentence at
Right.
UTC as far as giving of their time, talents, and treasures. Give when you can, as you can,
Right.
and take care of yourself in the process. So thank you for sharing that, Mitch. Shakira,
Yes.
what about you? You've given over the years in so many capacities. You want to share why it's important to you and to our community and how it's benefited you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I began volunteering my time at UTC, I went through the spiritual giftedness workshop. And I really, really love that workshop. And I hope we bring that back and really have that flowing through the community once more. But I went through the spiritual giftedness workshop. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with it based on the results that I got. And I remember being in a class at that time. You were the teacher of the class, and the question came up, like, what do we do with the results that came up? And you said, just serve. Just find that place to serve. And so I began serving as a prayer chaplain at that time because I think my number 1 was intercession that came up. And so I've been in the prayer and healing ministry since. I left 1 year and I've been serving in that capacity, and also as a teacher and just in committees and different things, and always serving. But for me, the question always is, if I am taking from a place that is giving me, what's going on there, right? What's the relationship that's happening there, right? Am I in effect stealing from myself, right? Stealing from myself because I'm just in this relationship where I'm using it up, and what am I putting back in, right? So I do encourage people to just show up and, if it is that you are getting something from this message, from this teaching, from UTC, and sometimes people shy away from saying from UTC, but if you are getting something from your spiritual center, then the law is you need to give back to what's blessing you, right? Paraphrasing. So yes, you can give to many different organizations and you can write a check and you can do whatever it is that you're doing. But if you're coming into the center as your spiritual center and you are getting so much from it, then it behooves you to think about your relationship and see how it is that you can support and give and share. I want to say also get in class. Some of my deepest relationships, I can think of Keisha right now. I can think of Sharon. I can think of Michelle Washington. I can think of so many people. Some of my deepest relationships from in the community came as a result because we walked through the classes together. And we can just pick up the phone and have a conversation like, girl, you understand. And the girl understands, right? And there's no language there. But because we have walked the journey together, it makes a difference. So I would really leave that message to get in class because you cannot get everything on a Sunday. And if you want to really take your life to the next level, you've got to walk this, you've got to get into this work. And that's
All
it.
right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shakira. Thank you, Mitch, for sharing with us this morning, your journey and your walk. And again, we all looking forward to your projects. Best of luck on your oral exam coming up in a couple of weeks. And we look forward to you being a part of our ministerial staff. Peace and many blessings to you. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.